to today's show. We are going to be making pork crisp medallions. We're also going to be making sprouts, potatoes, and onions. That's right, some Brussels sprouts with some sweet potatoes, and then we're going to combine that with some onions and a delicious balsamic glaze. Let's get started. All right, first we're going to start with our bacon. This guy needs no introduction, bacon. All right, so we're gonna put our bacon in a very hot, heavy bottom pan. This pan happens to be heavy all the way around, a cast iron skillet. So we wanna get our bacon started, which will be a topping on our Brussels sprouts. So we've got that going. And while that's cooking, I have a pot of water on with salt in it. That's going to be for blanching the Brussels sprouts. I want to show you how I prepare the Brussels sprouts for blanching and shocking to get the best and most effective results. I have some here already prepared. We've cut that bottom root part off. See, they come with this heavy root on the bottom. And so we're just gonna shave off that top, and then I'm gonna cut an X in the bottom of it. And the reason that we're cutting an X is when they're in the water to be blanched, the water actually gets absorbed inside the Brussels sprouts, making the inside of it tender for you as well. So that's why we do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and prepare these last three. And really you can use a paring knife for this. And there's my X. Oh, I won't say that one again, huh? There's my X. Okay, now you want to make sure that you have your ice water ready. Very, very cold water. Here, let's just dump all of them in. And while we wait, let me get the delicious bacon out so the bacon can drain. Look at that, lovely. Now we don't want the oil to burn from the bacon, so we're going to add our shallots into the pan. And I'm just going to toss it around a little bit. All right, now while that's preparing, I'll show you how to prep your sweet potatoes. Now, I've left half and I just cut the tip off the other. That is so that the potato stands firm and I can just slice right through. Then I will simply go down and I will cut my long slits and now dice. Easy peasy. There we are. Look at that. The onions, which really I use shallots for this. You can use a sweet onion or you can use a shallot. Now, the reason a sweet onion and not just a regular onion is because you don't want that hard bite, but you want something that has a little bit of taste to it. And I found that the shallot was a very nice compromise. So here, now, while those are cooking, I am going to take out my Brussels sprouts. They've been in there long, and they really don't take that long. So we're gonna shock them in this ice water, and we will drain them here. Here we are. Now I'm going to drain them so that we can get all the water off, because they're going to be added to the pan with the sweet potato and the onions. I'm trying to avoid getting the ice cubes in here. All right, there we are. So let's just get that out of the way and dry my hands. All right, now we are going to take the Brussels sprouts and we're going to just slice them in half. Now you can quarter them, you can leave them as is. I'm just going to cut them in half. All right, now that all of our Brussels sprouts have been cut in half, I'm going to stir the sweet potatoes and onions. Here is where we start adding some flavor. We are going to add some butter. Now the butter is going to add flavor, but it's also going to add a nice color to the sweet potatoes. Sometimes at this point, I will add the Brussels sprouts and I'll put the entire pan in the oven. Now, you talk about a whole different flavor being bumped up. That will do it, roasting it all together. But we're gonna cook everything right here on the top. I'm just adjusting my heat. We're going to add a little bit of lemon juice. Now that's probably the juice of half a lemon. I didn't use all of it. And we will add just a smidgen of salt. And you can add here fresh ground pepper. I have a peppered salt that I like. I'm not gonna use too much because it does have a little salt, which is why I added just a pinch of that salt. But also in this pepper is cayenne pepper, as well as whole peppercorns and paprika. Just a little. Time to add the Brussels sprouts. Now that everything's in the pan, we're just gonna give it a little while to cook and to brown. And I will chop up this delicious looking bacon and we'll have it ready. Look at that, no need to chop. Ooh, I'm really struggling. It's fighting to jump into my mouth. So we're gonna crumble up the bacon and we'll have a topping of the bacon as well as some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Now you can do either or for you vegetarians out there. No need, you don't have to put the bacon, you can just do Parmesan. But for me, I'm going to crisp it up with some bacon. So there, we have our bacon ready. Bacon. All right, and we have our Parmesan there. I'm going to put the paper towel in the trash and let's stir and see where we are. Oh, wonderful. They're getting some nice brown color to it. You see that? Wonderful. Wow. Now at this point, we certainly can turn everything off and pull it out. Oh, this looks fabulous. Let me get a spoon and let's get some of this out. I can't wait. The potatoes are tender. Here, let me take a taste just to be sure. Potatoes are tender. I taste the lemon juice. I also taste the delicious pepper. Believe it or not, a small amount goes a long way. So let's put it on this plate right here. I'm gonna turn the burner off. This is really good. You know something else that'll bump this up is I have a recipe for citrus sweet potatoes. So whenever you put orange juice with sweet potatoes, the sugars from the juice And this is fresh squeezed orange juice, are just fabulous. Look at this, all these beautiful, beautiful colors. Oh, I should probably save some for other people, right? Okay. This is beautiful. All right, let's move that. Cannot wait to dig into some. Let's put a little on the plate. Look at that, fabulous. And I'm just gonna sprinkle a little Parmesan. And I'll sprinkle a little of my friend here, crispy bacon. So now that I have this plate ready, here is the topping. Yay, it's a balsamic glaze. Just gonna squeeze a little. Look at that, dream. Here we go. Very good. The balsamic glaze sort of bumps up the sweetness in the sweet potatoes, but it also aids in that Brussels sprout root taste. It's really, really good. I love this. We are going to go to a commercial break. I will finish up this first course, and then we will get started with our pork crisp medallions. I'll see you in just a few. Check out Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee to learn new delicious recipes. Watch as I show you how to use fresh ingredients for healthy eating at every meal. Check your local listings for showtimes. Welcome back, and we are ready to get started with our pork crisp medallions. Yay! All right, first we want to start with beautiful pork loin cuts. Now, you can have your butcher to cut them to whatever degree of thickness you'd like. I tend to buy my pork loin whole, and it's this humongous thing in the grocery store, and it's about this round and thick. Still has the skin on it and everything. Of course, it's good to just, if you want to make, like pulled pork, just cut it, score the top, go ahead and cook it that way. But I tend to cut mine in thirds, and I'll use 1/3 for loin cuts for like this dish, and I'll use the rest for pulled pork or pork roast or something like that. So today, we're going to use it for this. Now, I've taken all of the skin off of it, and I've cut it to, about 1/4 to a half inch thick. And that is just because that's the way I like it. I'm going to use the heavy bottom skillet here, so I have my cast iron going. And then once we get these started, we'll start with the crisp later. But for seasonings, it's a little bit different here. I have a little bit of cinnamon, I have a little bit of coriander, and I have paprika. Going to add those. We're going to add a little bit of pepper. There we are. And we will add a little salt. There we are. And I'm just gonna mix those up. Now, you can add any type of spices you'd like, but for this dish, I like this because we're gonna have a gravy later to go with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and season these up. Also, I find that not only does the smoky paprika, which is what I've used, because there's a sweet and there's a smoky, it gives it a very nice flavor. Now, before I go and flip those over, let me add a little oil to the pan. Now, I am using here an oil blend. So it's a little olive oil and a little canola oil. But don't think I'm betraying my butter because I have it right here. So we're going to add a little butter. And of course, the butter's gonna give it some flavor. I'm just gonna whirl that around. There we are. And I will flip these over. A little bit more seasonings on this side. Some people wait until they flip the pork over or flip their protein over, whatever they're cooking, and then they add the seasoning. That's perfectly fine too. I would only recommend that if you're using salt and pepper. Other spices may burn, so you want to be careful. Here we are here. All right, and I'm going to add one there, one there. Why don't we do 3 at a time? There we are. And then these 3 will go next. We'll let them just hang out a little bit. Now, while that pork is cooking, we got our burner on low here. I'm going to make the crisp for the topping of the pork. And what we're going to use is a little oil. Now let's get our garlic prepared. Oh, I might just need 1. This is a pretty hefty garlic here. The fragrant cinnamon and coriander is just smelling up the whole place. It's absolutely delicious. That smells really, really good. I'm going to check on those in a minute. I think they are good for turning over. Now, my goal is to get this really, really chopped finely because you don't want to bite onto a large piece of garlic. All right, let's continue with that. Let's turn over the pork. Oh, there we are. That's just lovely, lovely. So let me put a little clarified butter in here. Just a little, right? All right, so let's swirl that around. I'm going to turn up the heat. I just had it warming. We're going to add the garlic. Be sure to keep an eye on your garlic. Garlic will burn quickly and easily. And I think since that garlic clove was so large, I'm just going to use one clove. So let me move these things. Now, I'm going to move the pork over because I'm going to need room to put the finished pork on a pan. So I have here a baking sheet with a rack on it. The reason I have the rack on it is so that any of the juices that fall, they'll fall directly onto the pan, but not only that, keeping the pork all the way around crisp. Now this is a beautiful, ooh, there's my garlic. Let me add the panko first. All right, let's get that in here. That way we can stop that garlic from cooking any further. I'm going to also add in my parsley. and we shall stir. I'm going to turn off the burner because we really don't need it any longer. We don't need that heat. We just need this to crisp up, and that's what it's doing. Now, we'll leave that one going, and let's get out our pork. There we are. This smells so delicious. Now, even though the juices and everything will start to redistribute, we still can finish it in the oven. In the meantime, let's stir our crisp. What a beautiful brown color this is. And then the little specks of green. Ooh, it smells delicious. Now, if you need, and this would be completely and totally up to you, you can always add a little more clarified butter to this. I won't tell anybody. All right. Of course, you should always make a mess like I do when you're moving that into a smaller dish from a larger dish. That way, everybody knows you spent all day doing it and making it. All right, there we are. So we have this beautiful, beautiful crisp that we're going to put on top of the pork. Now, I'm going to take out the rest of the pork. We're going to let that rest. Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back and we will finish up with the gravy and give all of this a good taste. I'll see you in just a few moments. Hi, I'm Chef Renee of Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee, and people who know me know that I cook with the freshest ingredients. It's important to use fresh and organic ingredients whenever available. Not only does cooking with fresh ingredients create healthy eating habits, but it also means great tasting food. So join me in shopping locally when you can. Welcome back, and we are finishing up our pork crisp medallions. We only have the gravy to make. Let's finish this up. Now, we had some shallots, but I'm going to add just a little more to them. All right. And I left this one because I wanted to show you. Sometimes in the shallots, they can have like this outer layer of skin here. See in there? So I can see that, so I'm going to cut right through it, and we shall peel that right out. There we go. In the meantime, I have some over there on the stove going. But we're just going to give a rough chop to this. All right. I'm going to add now the flour. And you're going to say, the flour, that's got to stick to the pan. If it does, we're going to deglaze the pan and scoop it right back up. But this way, the flour is absorbing the flavor of the onions and any of the pan drippings. It's absorbing. It has an opportunity to incorporate itself with those juices. So when we add the chicken broth and the wine to deglaze the pan, we'll be spreading out all of the flavor all over. This smells really, really, really good. All right, and I love that color there. All right, so we've got that added. Let's move our crisp. And let's deglaze this. Here is a little white wine. And here is some chicken stock. Oh, already smelling delicious. Mmm. And I'm just gonna whisk here. It's going to start to thicken. Now I'll tell you, I let the flour cook and absorb all of those flavors, but the longer I cooked it, the darker the gravy will be. So if you didn't want your gravy to be this color, golden brown, and who wouldn't, I can't think of anybody, then you will simply either use a fresh new pan and miss out on all the flavors of that pork, or you don't let it cook as long as I did. All right, and all these drippings are just yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm going to add a little pepper. I'm going to stir and taste. You see how quickly that was? I'm turning down my heat. Oh, this smells so good. Now, you can strain your gravy at this point, but I don't want to miss anything, so I'm not straining. Fabulous. Fabulous. I am so excited. Can you tell? I am just thrilled. I am so ready to dig in. So, we have our gravy done, and we have our pork. Let me get my plate. That's all I'm missing. All right, here we are. Now, we're going to put some gravy here on the bottom. Look at this. Delicious. And this is not one that you want to be shy with. So you don't want to put like a little dab, a little dab, a little dab. You're only going to upset the people eating it. So you just really lather this baby on. In fact, in my house, we'd just be pouring it into glasses. All right, so we have the gravy there, at least some. Now, let's get some of this onto the plate. Oh, okay, you know what? Let's just take this one. I'm gonna put it right there, front and center. All right, now you can also, let me get my garnish. Okay, look at that. Eat her up, eat her up. All right. Touchdown! I'm going to finish this up, but first I want to thank you for having me into your homes. I want to thank all of our sponsors of the show today and invite you to join me again on Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee, or check me out at simplyfreshfoodwithchefrenee.com. I'll see you next time.
Simply Fresh Foods with Chef Renee is sponsored by Red Tail Heart and Bull Wrap Cookware.